Once upon a time, and throughout all of human history, it was generally believed by most of the smartest men who had ever lived that it was not possible for any object heavier than air to fly. Then a professor at the University of Basel, Daniel Bernoulli, laid down a series of hydrodynamic principles, including his most famous, a complex principle of air resistance, which has come to be known as Bernoulli's Law. It was the application of Bernoulli's Law to aeronautical engineering that led to the first flight by the Wright brothers at Kitty Hawk and to the entire world of modern aviation as we now know it today. Daniel Bernoulli didn't invent this law, which is named after him, but once he discovered it and others learned to apply it, man was able to conquer the skies. Today, planes can fly almost anywhere in the world at several hundred miles an hour with a speed and efficiency that was unimaginable even 100 years ago, and all because of Bernoulli's Law. You too can fly. By using the laws and principles of success and achievement that have been discovered over the last 4,000 years, you can reach the heights of your potential. You can travel faster and further toward the achievement of your dreams and aspirations than you ever dreamed possible. When you apply these proven and practical principles to your life, you'll begin to make progress you may have never before imagined. When you organize your life so that everything that you're thinking and doing is in harmony with the universal laws that predict and control human destiny, there'll be no limitations on what you can be and have and do. When I was 19, I set out on a lifelong journey seeking the answers to the question, why is it that some people are more successful than others? I came from a home where we never had very much money. I didn't finish high school, and I worked at laboring jobs for several years. I washed dishes and dug wells and carried building materials on construction sites. I worked in factories and sawmills. I worked as a merchant seaman on a Norwegian freighter, and I even worked as a farmhand during the harvest season. Over the years, I traveled all over the world studying different cultures and philosophies and religions and schools of thought. Always I sought for the answers to that great question, why is it that some people are more successful than others? As the years passed and my experience accumulated, I began to notice that there was a certain element of regularity and predictability in human events. There seemed to be laws and principles at work in almost everything that happened. I've now studied the subject for more than 25 years, and I've come to the conclusion that there are universal laws that anyone can use to dramatically enhance the quality of his or her life. They're available to you here in this program, and when you apply them, you'll begin to get the things you want in every area of your life. To state it simply, I discovered that the answer to the question about successful people is that successful people live their lives more in harmony with natural laws than unsuccessful people do. Successful and happy people are those who, consciously or unconsciously, organize their thoughts, feelings, and actions in such a way that the powers available to them as a result of these laws seem to go to work for them in their lives. They then go on to accomplish more in a few years than many people accomplish in a lifetime. And the reason is simple. Successful people do more things right and fewer things wrong. They make the right choices and decisions, and they take the right actions. They channel their mental, emotional, and physical energies toward the attainment of the things that enrich their lives, and they waste very little of their time going down blind alleys or pursuing goals that ultimately lead to failure and frustration and lost months or years. Successful people seem to live their lives more efficiently in moving from where they are to where they want to go. They seem to get there faster and easier and achieve greater satisfaction along the way. Unsuccessful people, on the other hand, are those who either don't know the universal laws or who choose to ignore them in the short term, hoping that they'll be spared the consequences of their behaviors in the long term. This attitude can lead to wasted years and unfulfilled lives. Whenever you see a person who's not achieving his or her full potential, you see a violation of universal laws that's both sad and unnecessary. Universal laws are like physical laws, like the law of gravity. They're called laws because they are everywhere and always enforced. And ignorance of the law is no excuse. The law of gravity will work on you whether you step off a 10-story building in downtown New York or in downtown London, England. You'll follow the law of gravity, gaining speed at 32 feet per second, as the law says, and you'll go splat on the sidewalk. And it doesn't matter whether you know about gravity, or whether you believe in gravity, or whether anyone told you about how gravity works, or even whether or not gravity is particularly convenient for you at that moment. Gravity will work on you in any case, and you'll have to suffer the consequences. Universal laws are not like man-made laws either. A man-made law, like a traffic law, may or may not be enforced depending upon the circumstances. You can break a traffic law and possibly get away with it, at least in the short term. Universal laws, however, are different. They work 100% of the time. Your job, then, is to coordinate your thoughts and actions with them so that you're living your life in such a way that the universal laws are working on your behalf. In this program, I'll introduce you to a series of laws that have been derived from experience, observation, and reflection. I'd like to say that I personally invented or discovered these laws, but that's not really the case. They've been discovered and rediscovered throughout all the centuries of recorded time. These laws are applicable in a variety of ways and to a variety of situations. For instance, the same law, like the law of attraction, may apply in a slightly different form to achieving success, to happy relationships, and to wealth creation. The laws overlap and intertwine with each other. Sometimes one law will take precedence over another, although none of them will ever really contradict each other. You'll understand this concept better a little later in this program. Each session in this program explains a series of laws that apply especially to the title of the session, such as money and business and selling and negotiating. Sometimes the laws will appear with more than one definition, and you can apply them in several areas, like the laws of belief and correspondence. The first law of success is the granddaddy of all laws, and it's what we refer to as the iron law of human destiny. It was first articulated by the Greek philosopher Socrates more than 400 years before Christ and is sometimes referred to as the Socratic law. We simply call it the law of cause and effect. It's really the law that governs the universe, and all other laws fall under it and are consistent with it. The law of cause and effect is referred to in the Bible as the law of sowing and reaping. The scientist Sir Isaac Newton referred to it as the law of action and reaction. Ralph Waldo Emerson called it the law of compensation in his famous essay of the same name. This law says that we live in an orderly universe in which everything happens for a reason. There are no accidents, at least not in the long term. This law says that for every effect, there's a cause, or a series of causes. If there's an effect in your life that you desire, such as success or wealth or health or happiness, you can have it by simply instituting the causes that have been proven to generate it. This law also says that if there's an effect in your life that you don't particularly want, such as unhappiness or poor health or financial problems or difficulties with other people, you can trace those effects back to their causes, and by removing the causes, you can eliminate the effect. This law is so simple that it's largely ignored and so common that the great majority of people attempt to live their lives in outright defiance of it. Even though they may not be happy with the effects or results they're getting, many people continue to repeat the same behaviors that cause the same effects, and then they become angry and frustrated when nothing changes. In fact, one definition of insanity is continuing to do the same things, but expecting to get different results. You're surrounded by people who are getting effects that they don't want and are simultaneously not getting the effects that they do want, and they either don't realize or don't care that the only way to change the effects is to change the causes. The law of cause and effect is a wonderful principle for lifelong success. It says that if you can clearly define the effect you desire, all you really need to do is to find out who else has achieved the same effect and then copy that person or persons until you get the same result. It's no mystery. If someone else has done it, you can probably do it as well if you do the same things in the same way. You see, what I found was that the world is quite neutral about all of this. The world, the marketplace, and other people don't really care who or what you are or where you come from, as long as you institute the proven causes of the specific effects that you want. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, tall or short, black or white, male or female, fat or thin. Nature plays no favorites. As the saying goes, the jungle is neutral. The playing field is level. If you do the same things in the same way that other successful people have done, and you do them repeatedly, you will eventually get the same results. Of course, a lot will depend upon how far back you're starting, but that's something you can always overcome by time and patience and determination. My friend Kopp Koppmeyer, who spent more than 50 years studying success, concluded that one of the most important discoveries that he ever made was the necessity of using proven success principles. He said that if you're really serious about success, learn from the experts. Spare no effort or expense to learn from those who've gone before you. He also said that life is too short for either you or I to learn it all by ourselves. If you can find someone or several others who've achieved the same result that you desire, and you learn from them what they did, and you do the same things repeatedly, you'll eventually get the same results yourself. If you sow the same seeds, you'll get the same harvest. If you duplicate the causes of the effects or results you desire, and you continue to do so in face of the inevitable discouragement that comes to all of us, you'll eventually get the effects that you set out for. This is the law, and if you live your life in harmony with it, you can eventually attain things that will amaze almost everyone, including yourself. The starting point of the application of the law of cause and effect is simply for you to clearly determine the effects that you desire. Before you can apply the laws of success, you need to think seriously about what success means to you. Because of your unique past experiences, your personality, your abilities, your values and your beliefs, your hopes and aspirations, only you can define what success means in your life. Success is sometimes defined as getting what you want. Others define success as the freedom to live your life in your own way without the interference of anyone else. You may define success as freedom from worries about material things. Someone else may define success in terms of happy and loving relationships. Another may define success in terms of health and mental and physical well-being. In any case, your first responsibility to yourself is to sit down and make a list of all the things that would exist in your life if you finally achieved all the success for which you're working. In anything that you want to accomplish, you begin by defining your ideal result or your future vision for yourself. Even the shortest journey begins with you deciding where it is you want to end up. Before you begin selecting the causes you intend to initiate, you need to be extremely clear about the effects that you wish to realize. A woman who had been through my seminar on goal setting came to me afterwards and said that she had decided that her major goal was to sell $1 million worth of real estate and to win a prize for being one of the top real estate people of the year. I asked her why she wanted that particular goal, and she told me it was so that she could make enough money to get out of real estate completely and get into something that she really wanted to do. Well, she was also unhappy and frustrated and not making very much progress toward her first goal, that of selling $1 million worth of real estate. I explained to her that she'd never be happy or successful doing something that she didn't enjoy, and that perhaps she should change her direction and begin doing something immediately that she really cared about. Happily enough, she accepted my advice, changed careers, and the last time I saw her, she was happier than she had been in years. This illustrates one of the most important applications of this law. It simply says that in order to achieve certain effects, you must first instigate certain causes. It also says that in order to eliminate certain effects in your life, you must also eliminate the factors that are causing them. The most important single application of the law of cause and effect is this: thoughts are causes and conditions are effects. Your thoughts about any subject are the starting point of everything that happens to you. The conditions of your life are an expression of your innermost thoughts and convictions. If you think a certain thought long enough and hard enough, it becomes a fixed belief, and you'll find yourself behaving on the outside in a manner consistent with it. For example, If you think about success all the time and you think about the various things that you can do to be more successful in the important areas of your life, your thoughts will lead you to the activities that will make that success much more possible for you. Your thoughts are the primary causes of the conditions of your life. This brings us to the second of the laws of success, and it's called the law of mind. In its simplest form, it says that thoughts objectify themselves. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. What you think becomes your reality. Earl Nightingale, in his audio program, The Strangest Secret, says that you become what you think about. Ralph Waldo Emerson summarized this idea more than 100 years before by saying, "A man becomes what he thinks about most of the time." The law of mind is extremely powerful and is in many ways a basic law for explaining many of the other laws that refer to mind action. The natural extension of the law of mind is the third law of success, called the law of mental equivalency. This law says that your primary responsibility to yourself is to create a clear and accurate mental equivalent of what you wish to experience in each dimension of your external life. If you want to be happy, you need to clearly define for yourself and create the mental equivalent or picture of exactly what happiness means to you. If you wish to enjoy health and long life or happy relationships or financial prosperity, you need to create in your mind an exact, detailed picture of what you desire. As a result of a whole series of other laws that I'll be discussing, this becomes the critical starting point that begins inevitably to lead you to the realization of your dreams and goals. The fourth law of success is called the law of correspondence. This law has been talked about for perhaps 4,000 years, and it's one of the fundamental laws that explains human experience. It simply says that, as within, so without. It says that your outer life will tend to be a mirror image of your inner life. Your external world will tend to correspond almost exactly to what is going on inside both your conscious and subconscious minds. There are four major areas where you see the law of correspondence working all the time. The first is simply in your attitude. Whatever your attitude is, often before you even say anything, people will reflect it back to you in the way they talk to you and treat you. As within, so without. The second area where the law of correspondence is evident is in your relationships. Your relationships will almost perfectly mirror your attitude and your personality. If you're a good and happy person, you'll have good and happy relationships. As you become a more patient and tolerant and loving person, your relationships will reflect this almost immediately, very much as a mirror will do. The third area of correspondence that you see is in your health. Much of your health can be directly traced to specific attitudes that cause you to suffer from minor and major illnesses. The extensive work that's been done in the area of holistic medicine seems to suggest that there are corresponding attitudes of mind for most illnesses that you or I suffer, from the common cold and flu all the way up to the most serious illnesses that are often life-threatening. Whenever you're anxious or upset or unhappy for any reason, for any period of time, your body will begin to reflect those feelings. The entire basis of psychosomatic medicine is the conclusion that your mind, psycho, makes your body, soma, sick. What your mind harbors, your body eventually expresses. The fourth application of the law of correspondence is that your external world of material accomplishment will exactly correspond to your internal world of preparation. The more knowledge and skill you gain that helps you to be more effective in your work, the more you will be paid. You can't hope to acquire or achieve anything more on the outside until you've acquired it or achieved it on the inside. The law of correspondence reigns supreme. The fifth law of success is the law of belief, which says that whatever you believe with emotion becomes your reality. You always have a tendency to act in a manner consistent with your innermost beliefs and convictions. Your beliefs, in fact, act like a filter or a screen that edit out incoming information and only allows into your conscious awareness the things that you've already decided are true about yourself and the world. William James of Harvard said, "Belief creates the actual fact." In the Bible it says, "Whatsoever a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." For example, if you absolutely believe that you are meant to be a great success in life and that no matter what happens, nothing can stop you from achieving the greatness that is yours, you'll act in a manner consistent with that belief and you'll eventually make it come true. If you doubt your ability to be successful for any reason, this negative belief will be demonstrated in your tendency to hold yourself back. The most important part of the law of belief is the necessity for you to question your own self-limiting beliefs. These are the beliefs that act like the brakes on your potential. These are the nagging doubts and fears that people have about themselves and their abilities that cause them to sell themselves short. When you have self-limiting beliefs, you have a tendency to settle for far less than you may be capable of. Self-limiting beliefs revolve around your ability to lose weight or quit smoking or earn a certain amount of money or be attractive to members of the opposite sex or develop new abilities that are more conducive to your success and happiness. One of the most important steps you can take toward achieving great success is for you to question these self-limiting beliefs. You might even ask others who know you well what self-limiting beliefs they seem to think that you have that may be holding you back. Remember, self-limiting beliefs are often used as excuses. A good way to test your self-limiting beliefs is to ask yourself whether anyone else with the limitations you perceive you have has nonetheless gone on to achieve success. If anyone else has been able to overcome the limitations that you think that you have, it means that you can probably overcome those limitations as well. In fact, when you think about it, you'll realize almost immediately that there are hundreds, perhaps thousands of men and women who've had it far worse than you have and who've gone on to accomplish great things despite their limitations. You begin to fly when you begin to let go of your self-limiting beliefs and allow your mind and aspirations to rise to greater heights.